Hey guys, it's Chris. The human body and mind are capable of much more than most of us realize in our day-to-day lives. From joint pain that predicts the weather to the ability to smell certain personality traits. Here are 6 superpowers that you didn't know you have. Number 6. Humans are smile psychics. The human mind has an impressive ability to gauge even the subtlest forms of nonverbal communication. Have you ever just known that someone was lying and credited your gut instinct for it? Well, your brain's facial recognition skills may also have something to do with this lie-detecting ability. An experiment conducted by researchers at Bangor University concluded that not only is there a distinct difference between a genuine smile and a fake one, but the human mind is also capable of distinguishing between the two. In fact, we're able to detect and reciprocate a real smile subconsciously before the expression is evident on a person's face. The same doesn't hold true for fake smiles, however, which humans appear to have no ability to predict. Just like people are likely to respond to a real smile with a genuine one of their own, they're also likely to respond to a fake smile with a fake smile, indicating that our brains are programmed to treat the two as completely separate facial expressions. We can mimic them, real for real and fake for fake. The experiment also found that people use an entirely different set of muscles when fake smiling, referred to by researchers as a polite smile. This, coupled with our capacity to somehow detect a real smile, points to an ability among humans to pick up on seemingly imperceptible facial movements, since phony and genuine smiles appear the same on the surface. Try getting an AI to figure that one out. Number 5. Ovulation detector. Even science has struggled to come up with an explanation for this one, but it's true. It looks like both men and women can subconsciously identify an ovulating woman in their presence. See, I bet you didn't know you could do that. There are no known external cues for what can best be described as an evolutionary ability to detect fertile females. Scientists at Florida State University had women smell t-shirts worn by other women at various stages of their cycles, and they made a surprising discovery. Just like men, the testosterone levels in women increased when they smelled a clothing item worn during a phase of high fertility. So weird. Research indicates that men tend to find women more attractive when they're ovulating, and therefore in prime mating form. But the reasons for why other women are equipped with the same ability is less clear. It's thought that perhaps it enables women to sniff out any potential threats to their relationships, which would imply that monogamy among humans isn't just a cultural or societal norm, but a biologically embedded trait. Who knows? But if you try really hard, you can do it too. Number 4. Smelling. Female fertility status isn't the only thing that can be detected in human body odor. Scientists believe that things like sex, age, and genetic compatibility can also be signaled via smell. You know, that baby smell and that old person smell? To take things even further, recent research suggests that you can even pick up on certain personality traits by using your nose. The study was carried out by Agnieszka Sorokovska and her colleagues at the University of Wrocław. They took 30 men and 30 women, all of whom were single and slept alone, and had them wear the same t-shirt for 3 nights in a row. The shirts were then frozen. A week or so later, 100 men and 100 women were asked to rate the smell of 3 men's and 3 women's thawed t-shirts that had been worn. I bet you're sorry you missed out on this study. The sniffers picked up on 3 main traits: extroversion, dominance, and neuroticism. These ratings were equally accurate too, and in some cases more accurate than videotaped behavior from prior studies. To be fair, no effects on the traits of conscientiousness, agreeableness, or openness to experience were detected during the study. So, the conclusion? Based on their findings, the researchers believe that their judgments of dominance based on body odor might be especially important in a mating context. The authors of the study suggested that the 3 detectable traits, which are highly emotional dimensions of personality, may be related to psychological processes that directly or indirectly influence body odor more than other traits, including the production of sweat. While this all makes sense for the most part, researchers aren't entirely sure why conscientiousness, agreeableness, and openness can sometimes be smelled, and admittedly could be mistaken with the above-mentioned theory. So don't be afraid to try this experiment at home. Just sleep in the same shirt for 3 nights and pass it around to see what people smell about you. Number 3. 1 trillion odors. The smell is the strongest of our 5 senses, which is why you've probably noticed that smell is often linked to nostalgia. You know when you get a whiff of something and are instantly taken back to a certain memory. When it comes to scent molecules, our noses detect 1 part per million, and our brain processes them and encodes them as memories. Some of the most pleasant and memory-invoking smells among humans are flowers, trees, fresh fruits, herbs, beaches, and campfire. On the other hand, pungent and otherwise bad odors can remind us of bad times in our lives. People who suffer from anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder may even have their symptoms triggered by negative aromas. Contrarily, it is widely believed that smells can affect the mood in positive ways, and aromatherapy has been used since ancient Egyptian times to trigger relaxation and other positive feelings. While humans can remember around 50,000 scents, according to a 2014 study conducted by researchers from Rockefeller University, our noses are capable of detecting 1 trillion or more smells. Sometimes we're hardly aware that we're smelling anything at all, but our nose is hard at work registering the odors around us. Charles Spence, professor of experimental biology at the University of Oxford, reminds us that there's a lot to learn when it comes to the human sense of smell, and that even the best experts can't detect the same amounts of smells that wordy wine experts might have us believe. Professor Stephen Liberals of the Department of Cell Biology at Harvard Medical School agrees that when it comes to the olfactory system, there's a lot to be learned. However, he has a bit more of an optimistic outlook than Charles Spence and admits that the large number of olfactory receptors the human nose is equipped with means that our sense of smell could be even stronger than this latest estimate. Number 2. Hysterical strength. While it's well known that some people have amazing intellectual capabilities, the typical limits of human strength have never ranked very impressively. Sometimes mistakenly referred to as superhuman strength, which is actually a term more often used to describe fictional characters, hysterical strength is the shocking ability for ordinary humans to supersede the scientifically understood boundaries of their physical limitations. Most commonly during instances of hysterical strength, the person is not a bodybuilder, but of average strength, making the phenomenon all the more fascinating. While these events often involve the lifting of heavy cars, that's not always the case. In 2006, a northern Quebec woman named Linda Angiou faced off with a polar to protect her son and his friends while they played hockey. Hysterical strength often occurs when someone is in a life or death situation. While supporting evidence is scarce, and what's available is generally inconclusive, this sudden burst in strength is often attributed to an increased production of adrenaline in the body. It's believed that this phenomenon is theoretically possible, despite research being difficult. The reason it's difficult to research hysterical strength is that it's not ethically or safely possible to reenact the life or death scenarios it requires for the purpose of studying it. As E. Paul Zier, a professor of neuroscience and kinesiology at the University of Victoria in British Columbia states, accurately examining hysterical strength would require making someone think that they were actually going to die, which can only usually happen by fluke rather than a controlled environment. Robert Girandola, a professor of kinesiology at the University of Southern California, asserts that enough research has been done, particularly in athletes, to know that hysterical strength is, in fact, a real thing, even if we don't understand the inner workings behind it. Number 1. Predicting the weather. For over 30 years, rheumatology scientists have been trying to determine the answer to the age-old tale that achy joints can predict the weather. My elbow hurts, so I think it's gonna rain. According to popular belief, when the barometric pressure falls amidst high levels of humidity, joint pain increases. There are conflicting opinions regarding this as well. Alexa Mira, MD of the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, admits that research has shown that some arthritis patients are affected by the weather more than others. However, she says that it's not possible to predict who will be affected, and that while the results of one major study, published in 1997 in the Journal of Biometeorology, pointed towards the theory being valid, smaller subsequent studies have failed to replicate the findings. Robert Bolash, MD, a pain management specialist at the Cleveland Clinic, puts more confidence in the theory, stating that despite the lack of scientific proof, the anecdotal evidence is significant. A recent 5-year study further bolsters the evidence that joint pain can predict the weather. Researchers correlated online searches for arthritis with U.S. weather data and discovered that once the temperature reached 86 degrees Fahrenheit, searches of this nature declined. According to Alexa Mira, cold, damp weather causes the most joint irritation. How such pain is caused by the weather is actually a topic of debate among scientists. One theory agrees with the common belief that a spike in humidity and a simultaneous decrease in barometric pressure causes the pain. Our tissues can swell slightly when barometric pressure decreases, and the enlarged tissue may irritate the joints. Alexa Mira points out, on the other hand, that changes in weather can affect patients' behavior, thus making it difficult to measure the true effects of weather on their joint pain. While it's interesting that the weather can have a predictive effect on people's joint pain, I think it's safe to say that most people would forego this ability if it meant just not being in pain at all. To avoid joint pain, people are encouraged to stay active regardless of the weather by engaging in low-impact activities such as stretching, yoga, walking, and warm water therapy. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Do you have any other superpowers you'd like to add to this list? Anyone able to read minds? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to World List for more exciting videos. I'll see you next time.